Okay, this is a problem from your quiz. This is a problem from your quiz, and you'll get your quiz back on Monday. A copy of it, I think I emailed out. So you have a copy of it if you want to look at it. You will see this problem again on your practice test, so it's a good idea to look at this closely. Now, I'm going to read the problem, and I've written down some information up here that's important. The information in the chart below gives you the salary of a person for stated years. Model the data with a linear function using the points 1, 24,800. So in their first year, they made $24,800. $24,800. That was their starting salary. That was their first year salary. Their starting salary in year 0 was actually $23,500. That was their starting salary. But a year later, they were making $24,800. 3 years later, the starting salary was $26,100. Okay? Now, this tells us to use these 2 points. It says, model the data with a linear function using the points 1, 24,800, and 3, 26,100. Some of you on the quiz looked at year 1990, which was year 0, and made that your y-intercept. And that is a totally reasonable leap. And a lot of students do that. However, this problem specifically says, and it does it on purpose, model the data with a linear function using the points 1, 24,800 and 3, 26,100. So we have to use those points. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to find the slope. Now in this situation, the slope here is the rate of change. Okay, rate of change and slope are words that are interchangeable. So you're finding the rate of change here, and we identify it as slope. Your x value is 1, and your y value is 24,800. For your second point, your x value is 3, and your y value is 26,100. Okay, so we have to find the slope. That's what we're going to do first. Okay, so I have 26,100 minus 24,800 over 3 minus 1. Okay? Now somebody confirm for me that 26,100 minus 24,800 is 1,300. Okay? Good. Okay, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. I hope I don't need anybody to confirm that for me, but it is. 3 minus 1 is 2. Now I can simplify that. 1,300 divided by 2 is 650. So 650 is our slope here. You could also think about that as the rate of change. Now, our second step is to find a linear equation. Okay? So you're finding a linear equation here. And we have to use our point slope form to do that. Okay? We have to use our point slope. So I'm going to erase my blue. Is that okay? I'm erasing. So now I'm working on the second step. My second step. So I'm going to use y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, that's what I'm using. My slope is 650, and I can use either point. I'm going to go ahead and use this one. So I've got y minus 24,800 equals my slope, which is 650, over x minus 1. Okay? I distribute my slope. So I have y minus 24,800 equals 650x minus 650. Now I add. Okay. When I have negative 650 and 24,800, I get 24,150. Somebody check my subtraction. Is anybody checking it?
Oh, yeah, I got 24,150.
Good. Okay. Good. Okay. So let me talk a little bit about what this is. This is the linear function using the two data points they told us to use. Some people put 23,500 as the y-intercept, and I get it. I totally understand where you got that from because it says year 0 is 23,500. That's a reasonable leap, okay? But this problem specifically said model the data with a linear function using these specific points. It told us to use those points. And when we are told to use those points, then we have to create the equation based on this. Okay, so I did the first thing, which was I found my slope or my rate of change. The second thing that I had to do was find my linear equation. The third thing that I now need to do is predict, or, that was 11 years ago, the salary in 2008. Okay, so determine based on this model the 2008 salary. Now, can I erase the blue? Because we're going to do step 3 now. The part that sometimes students get confused is they want to plug in 2008 for X. But year 0 was not 2008 years ago. Okay? Year 0 is in 1990. Okay? And so I want to know what is happening in 2008. If year 0 is 1990, and year 1 is 1991, and year 2 is 1992, what is year 2008? $18. Okay? So year 2008 is year 18. So it is the 18 that we plug into that function that I just erased. It was y equals 650x plus 24,150. Okay. So now what we're going to plug in for x is 18. So you've got y equals 650 times 18 plus 24,150. Okay? What's 650 times 18?
11,700.
Okay. Then when we add these together, we get 35,200. And I really wanted to take a point off for this, but I didn't. I didn't take a point off in anybody's. That is 35,200 what? Dollars. Okay? I didn't. I really wanted to, but I didn't. Okay? $35,200. Okay. Be sure you've got the 3 steps that you've got to do here. First thing you've got to do is determine the slope. Second thing you've got to do is determine the linear equation that's represented by this information. The third thing you've got to do is determine the 2008 salary. Okay? Okay. Now, I have another problem that I want to do from your quiz. and that is number 10. Okay, so can I move off the screen? Okay. So here is number 10. And we've done some problems like number 10. But I think what confused people is this plus 7. Before I can do anything with the radical, my radical has got to be by itself. And in this situation, the radical is not by itself. So I need to subtract 7 from both sides of this. So I end up with x minus 7 equals the square root of x plus 13. The students that missed this didn't move that 7 over first. They just started squaring things. They saw the radical and were like, oh, I'm supposed to square it. So they squared it, but didn't deal with that 7 before they squared it. So you've got to have your radical isolated first. You have to have that radical isolated. So now I'm going to square both sides. So I'm going to have x minus 7 squared, and I'm going to have the square root of x plus 13 squared. Okay? X minus 7 squared, we're going to have to FOIL that. So I have x minus 7 times x minus 7. X squared. X times negative 7 is negative 7x. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. And then I have plus 49. So I have x squared minus 14x plus 49. Okay, so x squared minus 14x plus 49 equals the square root of x plus 13. Okay, now we've got a quadratic that we know how to solve. Okay, I've got to set it equal to 0. So I've got minus x minus 13 x squared minus 15x plus 36 equals 0. Okay, x squared minus 15x plus 36 can be factored. Okay, what multiplies and gives me 36, added and gives me negative 15? Negative 12 and? Excellent. Negative 12 and negative 3. Factoring is coming back. We have to, you've got to factor on your final. So be prepared to factor on your final. So then I've got x minus 12 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, now we have to check. We might end up with extraneous solutions, so we need to check. Okay, so I've got 12 as one of my solutions. So I've got 12 equals the square root of 12 plus 13. Then I've got the plus 7. That plus 7 is outside the square root. Okay, 12 plus 13 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. So I have 12 equals 5 plus 7, and does that work? It does. Now I want to check 3. I'm going to check 3. So I have 3 equals the square root of 3 plus 13 plus 7. 3 plus 13 is 16, so I have the square root of 16 plus 7. Square root of 16 is 4. Does that work? No. I have to do something that shows I have to throw that out. My only answer to this is x equals 12. That's my only answer. Okay? So your quiz had information on chapters 7 and chapters 5. Your test is going to include chapter 7, chapter 5, and chapter 6. Okay? The best thing to do for your test is those practice tests that are on Canvas. Okay? Now,